This was picked for an online submission coming out when it comes out. I don't know when, but it's about death, and I didn't even realize. So that's perfect for Halloween. Okay. I never thought I'd know the feeling of death while breathing. The underworld fascinated me from a young age, a whole life condensed into a gravel stone and sealed in the earth in an attempt to maintain what was once a life. My grandmother talked about death as much as she walked outside. She prepared us in a bunker of warning in the form of labeling knickknacks and assigning treasures. It wasn't until her sudden passing that her warnings made sense. I traced every word she uttered back, following the line of her treasure map to the afterlife with no discovery as to how we were all shocked. Death has a sick irony. In cliches of Disney princess films and its ability to make people laugh at the most inappropriate times, how it occurs in the same time as a light switch or a blink but burns lifelong scars every time. How it divides us in a debate if the after belongs to the sky or the underground or nothing. I question why I feared death the day I looked at its process in the form of my godfather accepting his next chapter. He accepted his fate. Why couldn't I? That day I knew the true feeling of guilt. The guilt that this was once a fate I could choose, I would have chosen. We do not choose the reactions of others as they lower us down from humanity. We take the now for granted and rush towards the once. We deserve the time we were gifted because we're subjected by permanent fate to the underground soon. Thank you.
This is about an ex of mine from the 1980s. In silence, you fidget scowling, uncomfortable in your skin like me. Then your eyes shift, probing deeply into mine, playing havoc with my shyness. You pick up a pad and draw me, bold curves in charcoal. Your body now still, all its power in your eyes and stare. Your charcoal quickens. I see veins around your irises quicken with a playful light. I'm drawn into your focus. I hold my head high as you dot shade, deleting and restoring. You take from me, transfer me to your pad, your pink fingers blackened. Time's nagging static slows to a strange tranquility. Only the charcoal leaps and scratches. You to play. Beckett's face is staring from a tattered volume of his games. His mouth, a twisted smile, like your body, lounging on a torn velvet couch, swathed in blackness, your slender fingers expressive, opening to invite me in, then closing in a fist as the cat sprints in circles and yowls. Portraits of women and me, wild like the cat with faraway eyes, swirl with splashes of red and blue. Distorted here, like a precocious Picasso nightmare, shifting and searching for a shape. The room is a cranium. I train a telescope through the window on the zero and grey outside. I amputate slices. We float down a river, jostling with Rambo's ecstatic amoeba, feeding on snot and dark blue wine as sirens and traffic weeping from neighbouring rooms seeps in. Why do you stay with me? Why do you keep me? All the mess in my head, the cacophony of voices tearing me in pieces, starts to merge in my gestures. My voice leaps with unlikely laughter. I drain the cast bladder into purple blotched cups. We stroke the cat, feeling her scars. We're speaking in a tangled rhythm. Art starts here.
It's called My Grandmother's Chest. My grandmother's chest, which I inherited at her bequest, has two grown men struggling to bear the weight of it as they place it haphazardly down in the space I've made for it. I know it is full to the brim of all the things that will trigger a journey into childhood memory. I know before I lift the solid wood lid carved with intricate designs that tell their own story, the things inside are all that remain of a life lived. Physical things that when I peek inside remind me of holidays spent sleeping on a mattress on the floor at the end of her bed, feeling loved and content. Her knitting needles that on sight conjure the sound of the click-clacking song that could be heard all year long as she knitted and purled wisdom subliminally into leg warmers and jumpers for me. A small cardboard box with its corners torn, holding two tiny decks of cards, one pink, one blue, that she would use to teach me patience. On hot afternoons when the only place to be was inside with the curtains drawn, heat kept out, secrets locked in. And I wonder if these are the things she wanted to leave me with. Did she really want me to have her treasured game of Scrabble kept immaculate in its box to remind me of how she passed on her incredible vocabulary with letters on a board when instead she could have shared it, sharing words? She kept trapped behind a rib cage that should have snapped under the weight of all the horrors unsaid packed back at the back of her throat that surely ached with the constraint of holding them back. She went to her death, chest heavy, leaving me a heavy chest of things that tell me nothing of the life she lived. She went to her death, chest heavy, leaving me without the most important thing, her story. She went to her death, chest heavy, and now I have a heavy chest of memories that are only my side of her part in my story. And I am sorry, now I know of the things she never spoke, that I could never unpack her chest the way I am unpacking this one, taking each item with reverence and gentleness, examining, validating, and rehoming it so eventually there would be an empty space of weightlessness. An empty space to make breathing space in a chest that must have always felt breathless under the weight of violations that should never have been projected onto the child who became my mother's mother. An empty space to make heart space that would have opened her up to receiving the love directed her way but she could never trust. An empty space that even if filled with nothing would have been better weightless than weighted with the unspoken trauma of misuse and abuse she had to deal with. An empty space that would have meant she had gifted me her story to store alongside the memories I am unpacking from her beautiful wooden chest that I inherited at her bequest. Thank you.
This is called Terrible Dreams. Those terrible dreams, convoluted in their symbolism, they return. The panic builds. Total, extreme, unrelenting. You wake up screaming, thumping your chest, forcing a breath, deep, slow. For you are certain that your heart has stopped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you count. Now you are calm. And you hope that you are wrong about everything. Then a memory enters your brain or mind or whatever. You have not decided on that one yet. This is not new. It has happened before, often. And the child that was is there again once more. And he is not welcome in this space at all. No, his presence is not welcome here. Still, as unwelcome as he is, more so are the other individuals who reside within, who are also you in various manifestations. They are your creations. So you fight every drug, every therapy, everyone. And you can do this whilst you are awake, but the night is remorseless and will have its way. And the terrible dreams, those awful dreams, reclaim you. Thank you.
Bathed in the glow of light that rains from a luminescent fountain, my kids run quicksilver quick, legs flames of delight and almost invisible. An urge detains them to the earth. Dark of sun, my withering anxiety is set right. Across the Martian sward on swooping plains they run lamplit, laughing and having fun as I chase them in lumbering fright. 7 colours of the spectrum and those unseen shine down on them quicksilver keen. What earth is, that is what it gains. A plenitude of inspiration in my sun, a nocturne lit with silver quick and bright. Down Scott Street the nighttime traffic rumbles, splash of moonlight on biscuit brick, sandstone echoing the drunk who stumbles, and the elegant booze a diamond slick. This is the vision that mightily humbles the inner man who sees what makes me tick. He is the hard case, hand to key, who fumbles senseless, and at 41 grown dull and thick. Down by the salt sea the seawall grumbles, throwing up the seaweed and the stick. In the guttering darkness my brother mumbles with long lingering looks at the licking yellow wick. Quicksilver my kids run in lime and violet lamplight, erasing all anxiety from second sight. And how long and hard it has been away from them, fear mad till they come, and dragging the weeks out penurious and mean, until they call at the door Friday with their mum. Into my interior my mother tumbles, cold comfort the acrobat lightning quick. She wakes me kicking from my slumber, caught like time in the very nick. And she surely has my number, vagabond scholar and learned hick. Down by the rock pool where the waves once washed her away, the moon illumines her, mentor to the ingrate and stuttering dunce, the ragamuffin hippie in long fox fur, typecast as the dullard Peter Quince in gold and frosty midsummer. Languid my life is and self-indulgent, bitter my blues and futile. Remorse regretfully refuses to relent at the young man grown so puerile. Quicksilver my kids run in lime and violet lamplight, erasing all anxiety from second sight. Removed to my cave I bathe in the sound of the rain, never so lonely, never so hopeless again. Thank you.
An experiment in makeup. Graphic eyeliner and pink mascara. Result, mock up but not fuck up. September is the soundtrack that sets the scene. A few friendly, familiar faces where no one can see the hour of work on my own on the other side of the screen. So I put on my most visible and favorite product, a performance of the host. Is it possible for your innermost self to be the most out there one you project to others? Maybe it is an experiment in my genetic makeup. Results? A girl who feels the most herself in the company of an audience. Even when they're imaginary or on the other side of a lens they haven't watched happen yet. We share poetry and laughs, exchange stories and lives, till we close our windows and go offline. My new mission, a selfie session. I let the flash burn, wipe spots into my eyes for long moments, select a couple from hundreds, no exaggeration, to share and wake up to validation. A conversation with a friend ends the night. Just like old times, but not like old times. This is my time of the month. Thank you.
A sacred land. I slept in the shade of a sacred land. A bush breeze spoke to me of ghost grey boughs, gum red flowers, and afternoon shadows on water blossoms. In the evening, moonbeams splashed over the land. Green mists rose where rivers snake, and dreams of sleeping creatures roused the silent wings of owls. I woke in the shadow of a sacred land. There sat the old man, watching faces in the flames, both warmed and chilled by the open hearth of his memories. He spoke deep into twilight about smokestacks on his riverbanks, the wound that bleeds within his soul, of a shadow that breathes over his people, and of beauty that was old, the wisdom of a land beyond time. He took me down around the stones, spoke of a cave where hands had woven figures into the rock. He told me of a spirit there where the tiger snake resides, and of the eagle's eyrie. Out in the wind a wild bird's song echoed inside the caverns and rippled along the billabong. Beside the Loamy River we heard a woman's song. Her withered lingo mourned remains of murdered bones, the last massacre of her people back inside the stones. Her morning song flowed on the river, flowed on out to sea. A sunbeam burst through the salt mist and set her morning song free. If you listen to the breeze back inside the stones on a summer's afternoon, a black flower opens and hums a sacred tune.
And I just want to say, I know my connection is unstable. I'm sorry about that. So if it cuts in and out, it's the remix. Here, I'm going to do an oldie but a goodie. It's about my mother. You can probably tell I do a lot about my mother because she's absolutely fascinating. And I used to be terrified of her, but the older I got, the more I realized what an incredible being she is, and the fact that she's so connected to that primal ancestry, you know, it's really powerful. Eyes are a cloudy gray. Her mother wailed the color away. When she died old, she buried the pain in her pupils. She buried a mother, a son, buried a daughter, buried parts of herself when she held their heavy, lifeless bodies for the last time. Her arms a temporary coffin. My mother's skin is stained with grief. Her hands yearn to hold my baby brothers once more, to stroke my sister's hair. Her hands hang heavy with sorrow. Burdened boulders that have shaped canyons on my back, crashing into bones. Grief would sink from skin to vein, vein to heart, producing toxic waste. Thump, thump, thump. Anger spills through fists, through face. My mother's heart produced toxicity, anger coursing through with primal intensity, which came from grief she never dealt with. Horrors Black women from third worlds have to deal with. They are modern day heroes. That's some real shit. My mother's hair, full, used too many times like a leash to throw her across the room. Each tightly woven titanium curl holds secrets to sin unfathomable. Subjected to fear-filled hate from her own kin, survived living conditions, awoken a woman. Instead of seeing a poor village girl pickaninny from Papua New Guinea, I see my mother, Mama Blomi. I see an ancient spirit, demonic, divine, descendant of warriors, sorcerers, primitive bloodline. Instead of seeing mistakes, I flip the script, see what it took, what it takes. When you've got nothing, still remove foot off the brake and wish it will make to the next day break. With every horizon, give thanks. Only proof you're alive, sunbeam striking your skin. Honey brown, sparkling melanin. Thank you.